Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's get right into it. The new NBA collective bargaining agreement will change the NBA forever as we know it. And let's dive right into it. Some of the keys here will be the new CBA will include bigger trade exceptions and extended salary cap exceptions for free agent signings for teams spending below the upper rungs of the luxury tax. Why that matters? Because teams like a Golden State, teams like the Clippers are going to be severely affected. You see, Steve Ballmer thinks I can just buy my way to a championship. I just buy players and buy, as you've seen some other teams do. Them days are done. The teams in the mid-level to the bottom level of spending are saying, wait a second, we're doing what we're asked. We are building teams, building up our young players, but we're having such bad seasons because we can't afford how a Golden State can, or how a LA team can, how Boston can, or whatever team can at that higher rung of the payment tax. You wonder what they would do, and now you see it here. This, what I just read about, will give more flexibility to the mid-level and lower tier spenders. They are also going to be introducing what they call a second tax apron, and the further team building limits now come into play, because the more you spend out of control and not try to ruin your own players, they're basically going to be taxing you for that. And especially in this economy where it's not as robust as before, a lot of these guys are business owners of other businesses. That's how they got the money to afford any team. If you're seeing things not clicking a certain way, you're probably going to say, okay, let's calm down spending. That's why Chris Paul got traded to Golden State, because that contract for Jordan Poole just isn't going to work in the new CBA. So the Warriors have to lose a key player that basically came up and got his talent up with that. Even he was traded there, or I believe he signed there, either or. But still, that's not his first team he was with. But there, he clearly grew into a good player. He had a bad towards the end of a postseason, but he did help them win the championship the previous year. So they can't keep him even after signing him. I think it had more to do with the CBA than Draymond, even though Draymond did play a factor in that, I do believe. So now you realize there will be harsher tax restrictions on teams like Golden State, as I said, the Clippers, because they want to limit the freedom of these cash flush contenders to outspend competition across the league. The NBA wants teams to win because they have helped build up a franchise, not because you went out and spent and got 3 superstars. And this makes you wonder about teams like Phoenix, teams like Boston, who clearly just added huge big names last year and this year. Basically, they have a 1 or 2 year window, maybe a year window, because some things will not be put in right away, but they will be within a year. So if you're Boston, or a team like Phoenix, Golden State, Clippers, Golden State, like I said before, this is your last hurrah. Boston, this could be your last hurrah with trying to keep Porzingis long term. So these are really key. Now, several of the CBA rule changes really come from the old version that will expire as of tomorrow, June 30th. And it seems like every new directive will impact every team in each franchise must follow the rules, because some changes affect teams at certain spending levels compared to the salary cap. Each team will definitely be uniquely impacted by this brand new CBA. That's for damn sure. Now you're going to ask, okay, which teams do the brand new CBA help? Well, that's clear. Teams like the Thunder, Jazz, and the Spurs, who have had time to establish their core and deepen their roster. So when it's time to compete, they can pay their top players, and it can possibly cross a bit of the second tax apron because they've taken care of their own and haven't brought in a bunch of high-profile players. The NBA is trying to force teams to build from the draft and to build within their own organization. Some teams do that better than others. You see the Lakers have fully helped make a star out of Austin Reeves, who's who's probably going to get a brand new deal near $100 million. He has a shoe deal, I think, from China right now. He just got. So you see certain teams are better at making talent and developing talent than others. But yes, the Thunder, Jazz, and Spurs, teams like that who have been on the lower end of spending and have trying to keep their core together will be the ones that benefit from this new CBA. This element of the upcoming CBA, where they are clamping down finally on these overspenders, will change the NBA going forward. You're seeing more salary dumps than ever. You've just seen Atlanta do a salary dump on a key player. So it shows you it's being felt. The minute you saw Golden State trade away Jordan Poole for Chris Paul, I think we knew something was up in the NBA. Because that don't make sense, because the talent is not even. Chris Paul is injury prone and probably on his last legs, maybe a year or two left. Jordan Poole, regardless of what you think of this year's postseason, he was a big key in them winning the title last year and is still in his mid-20s. He hasn't even reached his prime yet. Why would you trade away a guy you just signed last year for an old-ass point guard who was injury prone? Unless, of course, the Draymond thing, and then you also take a look at the issue with this new CBA. It is going to drastically change the NBA as we know it. And this change specifically, challenge and go after teams, teams like the Clippers and the Nets, who thought they can buy a championship and haven't got it done. Now, you're about to pay the price for not doing it, at least a little bit of the old-fashioned way. So this will change for every team going forward now. These big spenders will have to be more smart going forward. You can't just blow cash at everybody. Them days are done. I think this comes into play because a lot of players are getting these insane deals that make no sense because they're leaving their team. Or a team that does not want to wait and wants to buy all their players in free agency. Them days are done. They're over. So teams like the Clippers, Nets, Golden State, Boston, Phoenix, they're going to have to rearrange their rosters, and don't get too hyped, because if those teams don't cash in the chip this year, I don't know if they'll have the same team next year. Fans need to really get on top of this new CBA, going to change NBA forever. So once again, teams like Golden State, Clippers, the Nets, Phoenix are going to be in a world of hurt starting really next year. And those owners and the people in ownership and in the front office who do the finances are already telling them, hey, look out what's happening. And teams like Utah, Jazz, teams like the Thunder and Spurs, and other teams who are mid to low level spenders, well, now it's going to be more of an even playing field. Of course, the best players in free agency will always go to the top teams. They feel the best chance to win a chip. You can only control that somewhat. But this here tightens the clamps on the NBA going forward. So if you're a fan of a mid-level to a low-level team, as far as spending-wise goes, this is great news for you, because your team now may finally have a chance. If you like this channel and you like what I'm talking about, please like, comment, and subscribe. Appreciate y'all. One love.